Groceries. Sinampahan na ang mga suspect ng mga
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our press conference for tonight. Go ahead, Secretary Sharon Garin. Thank you so much. Thank you to our friends from the press from joining.
Can we start first off who's here among the DOE?
Yes, po, we just like to acknowledge the presence of Secretary Sharon Garin, Undersecretary Rowena Cristina Guevara, USEC Mario C. Marasigan, USEC Wimpy Fintebella. We also have Director Patrick Aquino, as well as Directors Marisa Cerezo, also Undersecretary Joby Bacordo, and and also Director Rino and USEC Sandy Salas, and USEC Mylene as well. So it's a full house for the DOE, and we're looking forward to providing updates to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My apologies for moving the briefing. We had to meet with the cabinet about the issuance of the president on the executive order for the energy emergency. First off, can we start with the EO, please? Okay. The president issued last Tuesday Executive Order 110 declaring a state of national emergency and authorizing the unified package for livelihoods, industry, food, and transport. Next, please. With this EO, this is not actually the only time that in the initial time that we have met the president. We've actually have held several meetings already with the president ever since the start of the war in the Middle East, and the declaration of energy emergency is basically a formality more than anything else. It's institutionalizing and assigning agencies in specific targets. So DOE and all the other agencies actually have met before, and we met on the first day of the crisis in the Middle East. So this is just to also show what are included in what have been discussed in our meetings, and how do we continue on knowing that it might escalate or prolong. So the main objective was to strengthen the fuel security through government procurement. At that time, we decided to. This is the briefer for the EO, ano? Mandy?
This is for public consumption po. Yes.
Yes, no, there's a briefer kasi with the EO. What are the components of the EO? I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll flash that.
Because these are the strategies of DOE, but the EO we need also. The EO is basically it means to stronger safeguards for energy supply. Energy supply through coordinated government action. There's essential services to continue uninterrupted, including transport, public utilities. Another objective to support rolled out for key sectors, such as including workers, farmers, and commuters. Stronger energy conservation measures implemented across government, closer coordination nationwide to protect the economy and vulnerable communities. Uplift is a unified package for livelihoods, industry, food, and transport. Can we flash that, Mandy? This is to have a government's coordinated whole of government response framework to ensure stability of domestic supply, continuity of economic activity, uninterrupted delivery of essential services, protection of vulnerable sectors. The key sectors identified in the EO are the livelihood, support for workers, are all FWs, especially if they're coming back to the country na, and vulnerable communities. Industries, MSMEs most especially, manufacturing and business continuity. For food, repeatedly in our meetings, we've discussed agricultural inputs, food supply, and price stability. And for transport, the most important sector is the public transport, is to support and the commuter fares. No, do we have the graphics for this, Mandy?
Yes, Sec, we'll move to that slide now.
Yeah, but I'm done already. So for this EO, okay, I finished this already. Next slide. Next. I finished this already also. No? Okay, so in this measure, the DOE is authorized to optimize energy use, meaning demand side management. Can we take this down na lang? Strengthen the conservation, prevent hoarding and price manipulation, secure fuel supply, support electricity market regulation, increase power supply, and implement strict energy saving measures in governments. For all the authorization that was given to DOE, this have been started already even before the EO. All the bureaus in DOE have been hard at work in optimizing energy use, preventing hoarding and price manipulation, securing supply. So this have been done already, and we'll elaborate this. We'll elaborate on this on the succeeding discussions. So first of all, we go to the activities of the DOE, Mandy. This is finished already. I'm sorry, but medyo nalilito kayo sa presentation niya. Okay, for the DOE priority areas, we have 5 areas and for our priorities. It's oil and gas, meaning the supply, electricity and power, consumer protection, energy and fuel efficiency, and our coordination with the rest of the agencies. The first is the supply side. DOE, through PNOC, we've procured 165.7 million liters, or 1,042 barrels of diesel secured through April to strengthen national fuel supply. DOE today announced that 1.042 million barrels of diesel, equivalent to 165,678,000 liters, have been secured for delivery through April as part of the government's decisive action to reinforce the country's fuel supply. This activity took a lot of effort. It included the identifying which GOCC will be able to deliver or to perform this activity, which means it's PNOC, EC. And then we had to get the funding, and then also process the procurement or streamline the procurement process. And then also in identifying our suppliers. So this is a system that we set up 3 weeks ago already, under the instruction of the President to maintain stable, sufficient oil supply nationwide. This this was the first instruction of the president on the first day of the war in the Middle East. It is scheduled in phases to ensure sustained domestic availability during a period of heightened external market uncertainty. The first shipment, consisting of 142 barrels, 42,000 barrels, is from Japan. It arrived in the Philippines on March 26 to March 28 because they had to unload. It took them days to unload. The remaining deliveries are set to arrive as follows: 300,000 barrels from Malaysia and Singapore in early April, 300,000 barrels from North Asia or India by mid-April, 300,000 barrels from Oman through Singapore at the end of April. Nakastagger siya. So that's a total of 1.42 barrels. Next, on the price adjustment, from March 20 to 27, ito na yung oil price hike natin. The country's total expected available day supply across all types increased from 45 days to 50.94 days. So ito na yung average natin. We added 6 more days despite the fact that we still consume. So we consume and then we add. What this tells us is clear, that we have supply. What we have consumed last week was replenished and even increased. For gasoline, it increased from 53 days to 59.78 days, up by 6.64 days. Diesel increased from 45.82 days to 46.93 days, up to 1.1 days. Kerosene from 97.93 days to 107.88 days, up by 9.95 days. Jet fuel increased from 38.62 days to 62.69 days, or up by 24.07 days. And LPG increased from 23.51 to 34.02 days, up by 10.51 days. This reflects that we do have supply. And what do this number mean? Para lang just to clarify to everyone, when you order oil products or petroleum products, normally in a normal days, pre-war, let's say, the minimum requirement of DOE is 30 days or 15 days or 30 days. So 30 days ang minimum na requirement. Why is it? Why is it 15 or 30 days? Because that's enough time for you to order again. So when you see 59 days for gasoline, that means we have almost 60 days to look for replenishment. So, but most of the orders that are coming from Southeast Asia actually just takes about a week or 10 days to get to the Philippines. So there's more than enough time. Same for diesel. Diesel is normally about 1 week or 10 days to order. So the 46 days or 47 days basically means that it gives us lead time to order for more. While we consume, we can replenish every 10 days. Same for kerosene, jet fuel, fuel oil, and LPG. Yeah, our supply gives us a level of assurance in the sense that we have lead time to order for more while we are consuming for the month of April. But having said that, though, even though we know that we have enough time to order or look for additional supply, we would like still to remind the public na we need to be very prudent. Dapat sana matipid tayo para hindi mabilis maubos ang ating mga fuel. It is more para extra careful tayo because we don't know what the war where it is going, no? Kung matatapos ba yan or kung tatagal ba siya or magkakalma na yung gera or mag-escalate pa. So as a country, this is our major appeal to our fellow Filipinos that we support each other, sama-sama tayo, and let's try to be as magtipid tayo sa electricity and fuel para po hindi po affected po yung ekonomiya natin, yung araw-araw nating pagbiyahe, para yung fuel natin ay sigurado tayo. We are assured now, but the future of the oil industry is not within our control. Next highlight is the Task Force 200 updates, meaning what we have been doing to make sure that we have stable electricity. As a background, we only depend on diesel by 3% in the country for power generation. But despite that fact, all our fuel, meaning coal, LNG, diesel, even renewable, let's say, there's an impact on that on the fuel price because of transportation cost. So considering that we might have increases in some of the transportation costs, and that might reflect in the electricity cost. So marami ng interventions ang ginawa ng DOE, and Yusek can explain that further later. Pero what we have been doing is to advance the completion of many of our renewable energy projects. So we've identified many of our projects, and we've been working closely with our developers. We are pushing for 1,471 megawatts in renewable and energy storage projects na matapos siya by April 2026. Para kahit tumaas man yung iba, kahit hindi natin magamit yung ibang power natin dahil sobrang mahal, or iwasan natin para hindi umakyat yung presyo ng Meralco or mga electric co-op natin, we're pushing for more reliable renewable energy na pumasok na siya within April. So we've been quite pasalamat kami sa mga generation companies because they've really been very proactive on this and very concerned also, including yung pagtulong sa amin ng NGCP, ERC, and all the other agencies. Etong mga committed power, new power capacity, these are 22 power projects targeted to be operational by April of 2026. These are 12 solar projects, 6 hydroelectric plants, 2 biomass facilities, 1 wind project, 120 megawatts of renewable energy storage system. These projects will also avoid any or minimize any increase or spike in the city rates. So lahat po nito, some of this will be expounded on by our undersecretaries or the bureau directors. Pero all of this we have been doing already for a month, and I think we can see the results, and I would like to congratulate the DOE team kasi yung supply medyo na-secure na natin. Even the energy, the power side, we planned it in advance so that the impact is not as much as we expected. We were expecting ng mga 9 pesos ang increase, but Yusek can report later na hindi ganun kalaki pala yung magagawa kasi nag-intervene yung ERC tsaka yung DOE. And for the rest, they will explain further. So Mandy, who can start for the power siguro tsaka yung interventions? Wimpy, Gef, and then the energy efficiency. Gef, you want to start?
Yes, Secretary.
Okay.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead,
me?
Gef. Yes.
Okay, thank you. After the issuance of EO 110 last March 24, the department issued an advisory on fuel conservation and prioritization, and the ERC Commission ordered the suspension of WESM effective March 26, 12:05 a.m. The suspension aims to ensure reliable and secure power systems operations, mitigate the impact of volatile and high fuel prices, enable centralized and efficient dispatch of limited fuel resources, and, most especially, protect consumers from price spikes and market distortions. This is not a normal market suspension. We had a special operating guidelines implemented where deviations between scheduled and actual dispatch were observed. Coal-fired generating units were dispatched higher than their scheduled levels, while natural gas-fired power plants operated below scheduled dispatch, reflecting efforts to conserve limited and costlier fuel resources. Initial information and prices were 5.41 pesos per kilowatt hour in Luzon and Visayas and 5.48 pesos per kilowatt hour in Mindanao, showing a relatively stable national price environment. Fuel costs, however, may be subject to adjustments and possible staggered collection to cushion the impact to consumers. And of course, there were 5-minute intervals where gas needed to be dispatched at maximum due to incoming deliveries of LNG requiring the plant to run and allow space for LNG storage, and the scheduled preventive maintenance of transmission lines, which necessitates curtailment of some coal-fired power plants. We are adopting what we call modified administered pricing. This is the price imposed by the market operator to trading participants during market suspension or market intervention. We also continue the scheduling, metering, and settlements, and we implement the emergency fuel dispatch framework. This is how it works. Priority for dispatch is renewable energy. Second priority is coal-fired generation with a price cap of 6,000 pesos per megawatt hour. Why coal? Because coal, the increase in price is lower than the increase in price in LNG and oil. And of course, last priority is indigenous energy sources while reducing oil and LNG dispatch. The National Grid Corporation, as the system operator, implements the dispatch based on least cost principles using the merit order table. We have assessed the implementation, and what we've seen is that the electricity prices are now governed by administered pricing, reducing exposure to spot market volatility. Initial indications suggest price stabilization aligned with the objective of protecting consumers from sudden spikes. On March 28 market status report, there were extreme prices reflective of the contingency constraint at Mexico Hermosa 230 kilovolt transmission line. But under normal market conditions, you would use price substitution mechanism for congestion. However, for this particular market suspension, we are using administrative price. From March 28 to 29, the market results during the WESM suspension indicates that administered prices generally reflected actual demand levels and available reserves with higher values observed during evening peak hours in Luzon, Visayas, while in Mindanao, it was relatively steady. During the same period, coal-fired power plants were dispatched above their scheduled level in accordance with our special operating guidelines, allowing coal and other indigenous resources to serve as the primary sources for meeting demand while conserving LNG and oil supplies. Overall, the results show that the suspension framework is supporting reliable systems operations and fuel optimization objectives as intended. That's it, Secretary.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Kev. Wimpy, you want to elaborate more on the enforcement?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella. Just like to inform everyone again of the good news as mentioned by the Secretary. Kahit po nagkarga tayo ng gasolina natin last week, pagdating po ng replenishment, nadagdagan pa yung mga araw kung saan meron pa tayong dagdag na supply. So, that's under the leadership of the President wherein, and this was mentioned also to the local chief executives, especially in making sure na yung mga strategies natin, including that of the messaging, is really controlled because it is a tough balancing act. So ang sinasabi ng Pangulo natin Kailangan siguruhin yung supply. Yun rin po ang sinabi natin sa ating mga local chief executives and the chiefs of police when we met with them um, 2 weeks ago. Kaya po nakikita na rin natin yung reporting ng ating mga kapulisan kung paano ang challenge ngayon, paano masiguro na sapat ang supply sa ating bansa, pero paano ito aabot sa mga network ng ating gasolinahan, network ng ating LPG, umabot sa Cordilleras, umabot sa Region 3, umabot sa Region 5, umabot sa Region 8, kung saan meron na nga pong mga report din na merong mga nagsasara or nagkakaroon ng temporary closure dahil merong kakulangan ng supply. Pero ang sinasabi nga po ng Department of Energy kanina, nag-meeting na naman tayo with the regional directors of the DILG that was headed by EUMB. Thank you for the Director Patrick in convening the regional directors. Sabi ko po nga po kanina, ano ang tulong or ano ang reporting na dapat makita natin dahil ang price monitoring ng bawat local government unit, ang magiging direksyon po ay hindi lang price monitoring kundi tingnan kung tama ang supply at tingnan din yung behavior ng ating demand. Challenging siya in a way pero that is the science behind the energy balance table or siyensya po siya, scientific approach kung paano natin masisiguro na meron tayong sufficient and continuous reliable flow ng petroleum products. So, yun po ang kinagandahan dahil pag nagkakaroon tayo ng teamwork ay mas nagkakaroon tayo ng kaayusan sa distribution sa ground level. So, maganda yung binalita ni Secretary Sharon na meron tayong sapat na supply pero ang challenge nga po, paano natin ito papaabutin sa ating mga barangay, lalong-lalo na sa isla, lalong-lalo na sa kabundukan. So yun po ang halaga ng teamwork na hinihingi natin. At meron din pong mga report na sinabi sa atin, although we really have to get to know the details some more, ano po yung mga nagbibili ng mga gasolina ng paulit-ulit. Tapos binebenta rin po ng mas mataas sa ating mga kababayan. Yun po yung pinapasalamat natin sa Philippine National Police for initiating yung enforcement mechanisms natin at pagpa-file ng kaso. I have to admit, Madam Secretary, na kailangan ko pa po kunin yung detalye. Pero yun po, the regional level will come down to the province level and the city and municipal levels in monitoring to give more details, especially on the ensuring that all these products will reach, especially the far-flung areas, lalong-lalo na po yung malalayo. For now, Madam Secretary, yun lamang po. Salamat.
Thank you, Wimpy. Next is the energy and fuel efficiency.
Thank you po, Secretary.
Thank you, Patrick. Go ahead.
Opo. Tulad po nung nabanggit natin, nagpapasalamat po kami sa lahat ng nag-participate nito pong nakaraang Sabado para sa Earth Hour. Ang atin pong pagpatay lang po, simpleng pagpatay ng ilaw na ginawa natin ng 1 oras, naka-generate po tayo ng almost 145 megawatts po na natipid natin nung araw na yon. So para po simple, ang nangangahulugan po nito, halos 1 milyong kabahayan ang nabigyan natin ng ilaw kung maititipid po natin to. Yung atin pong behavioral natin na pinapayo sa ating mga kababayan sa ating fuel efficiency, yung pagmamaneho po ng tama, hindi tayo nagmamadali sa maneho, chinecheck po yung ating brake at tama lang po yung ating pagtakbo. Ang nakita po natin sa gobyerno, tulad ko po ng inaulat, sa DOE, umabot na po kami ng higit 25% na yung natitipid natin sa fuel. Pagdating naman po dun sa kuryente, Ngayon pong nakaraang linggo, umabot na po kami ng 50%. Kaya patuloy po naming inaanyayahan yung ating mga kasamahan sa pamahalaan na i-explore po yung tinatawag nating additional or modified flexible work arrangement kung saan po ang ating mga kasamahan ay nag-work from home or off-site at skeleton workforce lang po ang pumapasok sa opisina para sa mga essential na gawain. Patuloy rin po ang ating energy audit at energy spot check sa buong bansa. Pumalo na po tayo sa higit 500 na energy audit at spot check at sa kabutihang palad, karamihan po ng ating mga ahensya ay tumatalima sa utos ng ating mahal na Pangulo sa ilalim po ng EO. Kaya ini-activate na rin po natin, tulad ng binanggit ni Yusek Wimpy, sa pakikipagtulungan ng ating DILG, yung atin pong energy efficiency. So aasahan po natin bago po matapos ang buwan ng Abril, mas madami pa pong mga ahensya ng sangay ng pamahalaan, maging ang ating local government units, na kastuwang na po natin sa pag-energy spot check. At minamarapat rin namin ang pagpasalamat sa ating mga LGU partners at sa ating mga government agencies na patuloy na pong nag-i-implement ng kanilang government energy management program. Bukod po dito, sinumulan na rin po kasama po ng ating mga senior officials yung pakikipag-dialogo natin at pakikipag-usap po sa mga industriya sa tulong po ng ating Department and Trade and Industry. Weekly na po natin itong ginagawa at ina-assure po natin, nagkaroon lang po tayo ng isang engagement nitong hapon kasama po si Undersecretary Sales kung saan sinagot po ng ating mga opisyal yung mga katanungan at ng ating pribadong sektor at ang mas pinakamahalaga po, pinaalalahanan natin sila sa mga tips na pwede po nilang gawin. Yun lang po, Secretary. Thank you po. Isaac, nakamute po kayo.
Thank you, Patrick. Next is oil and gas. Sino yung magre-report nito?
Yusek, good evening po.
Go ahead, Rina.
Ang may dadagdag na lang ho namin, Sec, ay yung sa price announcement which was not discussed kanina. So, meron ho tayong Asik Mandi. So ang atin hong yes, okay. Sec, ang ating range ho sa gasoline no, there was an adjustment that actually implemented a rollback, an amount of 2. Others have also gone up to 2.90 peso per liter. For diesel, we have an increase of from 4.50 peso to 12.90 peso, and kerosene from 1 peso to 240 peso. But there was also one company who implemented no adjustment for gasoline. So on the screen, we presented an estimated resulting pump price for the of March 31 to April 6, 2026 for the different types of products. So that's all, Sec.
Yeah. All right. Are there any more? Wala na ba? So,
Ma'am,
yes. Go ahead.
dagdag ko lang po, ma'am.
ahead,
There was a question about from the ILG inquiring about the flexible working arrangement. I mentioned that when I implemented the policy of 100% work from home, ang lumabas is a paradigm shift. I was giving an example sa Department of Energy kung saan imbis na sinisita tayo mga kawani, na pumasok ka. Ngayon, ang nangyari ay kung papasok ka, sabihin mo sa amin, sa admin services, kung bakit kailangan mo pumasok at ano yung energy efficiency and conservation measures na gagawin natin. Kasi ang mahalaga when we were discussing it with the DILG po, Madam Secretary, we were also looking into how we can add more funds for social protection. So yun po yung nalinawan naman yung mga kasama natin sa DILG kasi yung pag-uusap nila ni Director Patrick ay yung energy efficiency and conservation officers will also have to show a good example for everyone na ito po ay kayang gawin, pero ang mahalaga, nakakatugon tayo sa mga serbisyong inaasahan ng ating mga kababayan. Yun lang po. Thank you very much po, Secretary.
All right, thank you. So we
Yes.
start. Go ahead.
Magbigay lang
Go ahead.
ako ng konting update dun sa ano natin, yung monitoring ng Task Force 200, yung na-explain mo kanina.
Yes, go ahead.
So actually yung ating mga projects na yan, 25 projects yung total niyan. Pero kaya natin na-reduce ng 22 dahil yung iba just before our meeting last Friday na-resolve na. It's either na-issuehan na ng Certificate of Authority to Connect, either provisional or final, or the others have been issued na ng provisional authority to yung authority to operate. Now, out of this in our meeting with the ERC, NGCP, and IMOP, all of those entities have committed to make a resolution of all the issues that we have raised. Yung mga resolution naman na yan, we were able to gather those through our virtual meeting with the developers themselves. A series of meetings ang ginawa natin and per project basis, and then some of those projects were actually validated also by our staff. Kaya nung i-meet natin on Friday yung tatlong entities, yung IMAP, NGCP, and ERC, yun nga, some of them have already resolved. Like for example, yung Terra Solar, it was already given a green signal to uprate its capacity from 85 to 250. So hopefully, within this week, ma-reach na natin yung yung 200. From that, may additional na 50 megawatts na pwedeng ipasok si Terra Solar, but that's subject to the application ni MGen, nung company, nung kanilang complete SIS. Now, with regards to additional projects, we are now actually monitoring pa almost 110 projects to the tune of more than 6,700 megawatts na identified na rin natin kung saan yung mga issues. So there are some issues on the issuance of the sporad last use agreement, yung issuance natin sa DOE mismo ng mga certificate of completion. Then, of course, nandun pa rin yung sa ERC and NGCP. But all of these things, especially for those 1,400 megawatts na papasok of April, continuous yung monitoring natin to ensure that by the end of April, yung 1,400 megawatts natin is already in operation. Yun lang, Sec. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Let's go to the question and answer na. Daming tanong.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll start with those raising their hands. So you can unmute. Please introduce yourself in your outlet, type your question in the chat, or raise your hand to be unmuted. Thank you, Sec. First, we'll start with ABS-CBN, Miss Andrea.
Hi, Sec. Good evening po.
Sa kanya IFP.
Sec, dun lang po sa mga procured na oil, procure ng oil ng government, how do we plan on using this? Paano po natin i-distribute? Like, do we plan on the government doing it on, posible ba itong masubsidize or idadaan rin po ba ito sa mga oil companies? Kasi ang concern po ng ilang groups, kung ipapasa ulit ito sa oil companies and itatakda ulit based sa world market prices, edi mahal pa rin po yung presyo.
The oil that we procured is actually parang reserba siya, no? Na pag may mga oil companies na alanganin yung mga orders nila, then we can give it to them. Now, this is basically, first of all, kasi ang first purpose of the oil that we purchased are for supply side, no? Nasiguraduhin natin na enough yung supply natin. Kasi I think that's the most important, considering na kung mas malala yung problema pag wala na yung supply, no? Maubusan tayo. So we're securing it to make sure that we have enough supply and that all the oil companies have supply. Kasi kailangan kasi ng tao yung mga gas stations, no? So pag yung gas stations mo hindi maka-deliver ang supplier nila, then that community will have a problem. So what we're ensuring, and Wimpy and sila Sandy are ensuring na merong supply na makakarating po sa mga gas stations natin. Now, second is who how do we determine kung sino makakuha, uplift committee on how to distribute that. Pero right now, as of I think as of today or on Friday, we have drafted and issued already ang committee dyan. May committee kasi itong oil procurement that as a guideline on how the oil will be sold or distributed. Dadaan pa siya sa oil companies kasi the oil companies are the ones with the infrastructure. Mahirap kasi kung PNOC actually how they store is they store it in the storage of the oil companies kasi wala po yung gobyerno ng sariling storage. So dun na rin papunta yan sa mga oil companies, and how we will distribute or how do we sell. We can provide the guidelines eventually kasi di ko lang alam kung natapos nila today, but we do have guidelines on how to distribute it.
So far po, Sec, wala pa rin talagang plans for price intervention.
For price intervention, this will now meron na tayong supply na sufficient so the next batch of purchasing kasi will be the price will be the factor na kung maghahanap na tayo ng mas mura na talaga na oil, but that's still looking forward pa as of right now. What our primary objective with the oil kasi is to make sure na merong supply ang mga oil companies natin. As a measure of price control, not yet. Pino-formulate pa kung ano pa yung mga posibleng magawa ng gobyerno. We will report that once it's ready.
Thanks, Sec.
Thank you. So we have a number of questions on the government procured oil from Asahi Shimbom and AFP, France Press. So did the shipment from Japan arrive as part of the regular supply, or was it secured through additional means? And also, for the additional 900K barrels, are these crude or diesel or another type? Thank you.
So these are all finished products. Actually, these are all diesel because that's the biggest consumption of the country, especially our public utility vehicles. Diesel talagang kinukonsumo. So we need to maintain, continuity and reliable supply for our public transportation. Is it part of the regular supply or negotiations of negotiations that? Well, this is part of regular. As part of regular supply, or is it secure to negotiate? This shipment from Japan was bought by PNOC. So this was a government intervention. This was secured by the PNOC itself. So, but I just wanted to differentiate because our oil companies are also procuring from these traders or from these suppliers. But what we do is when they have a problem, we coordinate with the embassy so that we can make sure that their supplies or their contracts are honored. So in that sense, ang mga regular supply are with the oil companies. PNOC is new to this activity. So this is not necessarily through negotiations, but this is just an additional supply that the government is procuring para to make sure that we have more than enough. Ano yung isang question niya?
What the type po of?
This is crude oil. Yeah, this it's not crude oil. These are diesel finished products. The only company that imports crude oil is Petron, which is our only refinery.
Okay, we have a few questions on diplomatic relations from Manila Bulletin as well as Newswatch. How would the recent Russian crude arrival affect our trade relationships? with US, Ukraine, and the EU? And why haven't we procured from Russia before? Thank you.
Russia had there was an embargo, trade embargo by the U.S. So in order to proceed with this, there was actually an official notification that we were given a window to procure from Russia up to April 12, if I'm not mistaken. So will this affect our relationship with the other countries? I do believe that it won't. Kasi nga with clearance din from all parties involved, but I think the primary concern of our country right now is to make sure that we have enough supply so that our country keeps on, the economy is ongoing, and our daily lives are not disrupted. So the priority natin is to protect our country. But so far naman, there hasn't been any complaints or objections that we have received from any other country.
Thank you. As for prices, there are several questions from Business World and NHK about what attributed to the decrease or lesser increase in fuel prices for this week.
Maybe Rino can explain.
Yusek, simply put, no, Alsec, simply put, we have a decrease in the MAPS price for gasoline, but of course, the diesel has still increased, and kerosene, and the only product that has actually decreased was the gasoline.
Diesel kasi is the most the most used, no? The demand for diesel is always higher, but also the international market has medyo umibay yung trending nila in terms of like diesel, because diesel is the most volatile now. So kaya iba talaga yung reaction ng diesel with the MOPS price. So we follow what the international market, anong level ng presyo niya. And that is actually how the prices also we have observed since PNOC is purchasing. Talagang diesel talaga umaakyat siya. Kahit yung ibang fuel nagsistabilize na siya. I just wanted to explain though, no? Like for example, yung dati na presyo ng diesel na landed cost before the war was about 33 pesos pa to, Rino, 34 pesos. No? Today, it can reach up to 104 pesos na. Mga times 2, times 3, times 4. Times 3 na siya. So talagang nag-increase ang diesel. Malaki yung pag-akyat ng diesel. So it's something that's not controlled by our government nor the Philippines. We follow kasi kung ano yung presyo ng international, and that's what they're offering actually today.
Okay, thank you. We have several questions on taxes from CNA as well as CH Williams and a few more. Is it within the DOE's mandate to recommend removal or decrease of VAT or other taxes on oil? And if not, is this a measure the President is considering?
That is not within our mandate because that's under the Department of Finance. But there will, I think the law has already been signed and will be implemented for the removal of the, suspension of the excise tax. How long and how much is the reduction? I think DOF probably can elaborate on that. On the VAT, it hasn't been it hasn't been tackled in Congress, so that needs a congressional amendment to the current law. So maybe when the Congress comes in session around, I think, I'm not sure when they will be in session, but baka pwede nila matakal yan if they deem it necessary or helpful, no, to the current situation.
Thank you, Secretary. We have a few questions on renewable energy. What measures are being done in the RE space that would put the country in a stronger position to deploy local solutions and reduce dependence on imported fuels, including what was done this April? Thank you.
Sino, si Gab or si Mario? Gab? Gab? Oh, sige. Kahit Gab.
Yes. Thank you, Sec. What you would see is that the Department of Energy continues with the implementation of what we call green energy auction. This guarantees offtake for renewable energy developers if they win the auction. And so far, we have about 22 gigawatts of renewable energy already awarded through green energy auction. We also have the assistance of the Department of Energy to RE developers in facilitating permits, consents, licenses from other government agencies to the point of hand-holding by USEC Mario and USEC Wimpy for some of our developers. And of course, the cooperation of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, in fast-tracking transmission projects that are needed to connect RE projects. We can assure you that our target of 35% RE in the generation mix by 2030 is on track.
All right.
If
Next
I may
one.
add po,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, would like to congratulate Yusek Gev for the article in Philippine Daily Inquirer po yata yun. The emphasis on the energy transition has always been there. Even us in the Planning Bureau and in the passage of the Energy Virtual One-Stop Shop, EVO Steering Committee, what we saw, ma'am, is that mas naging mabilis yung permitting natin, and we have to continue